all of us have read Brief History of Time by Dr. Stephen Hawking, and I had a lot of respect. 20 years ago, I read it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then when I started asking the questions, it doesn't answer any of my questions. You're telling me a brief history of time, but you can't explain why there are 360 days. You're telling me a brief history of time, you can't tell me why the weekdays. Ask anybody, Dr. Jordan Peterson, Yuval Noah Harari, everyone. They're like, oh, no, something happened, some stories, folk stories. We need to be aware of those stories. I mean, you're basing things on something that you're not even aware of. That's bizarre. As a scientific mind, as a critical mind, as a critical thinker, I need to have a specific answer for something as precise as science. And you don't have those answers. That's why I took 20, 30 steps back and like, where do we need to start? We need to start at time. Now, the fundamental thing is everyone tells you this is there in Vedas, that's there in Vedas. And my frustration was, okay, great, guys, please tell me where is this in the Vedas? So you start off with, well, the gravitational theory is given in the Rig Veda and the Yajur Veda, and Rishi Pipadal talks about it. Okay, what does Rishi Pipadal talk about?
And you gave all the references in your book.
Yeah.
The readers will find all the relevant slokas there. Right? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows about these things?
Nothing. Nobody knows. So you got to understand, time is extensively defined in the Vedas. In the Puranas, in the Upanishads, every book starts with time. Somebody was debating the other day, well, there is this version of Ramayana, that version of Ramayana. Sorry, there is one Ramayana, that is Valmiki Ramayana. That gives you time, the Kalā. If I start a Vedic ritual, please don't confuse this with Christian prayers, Islamic prayers. They are different. They are truly just there, the prayers. The word belief didn't come till 15th century. Our word Vishwas is different. That's not belief. Vishwas is V is special, Shwas is breathing. So you're literally tuning in. When you do a Sankalpa, you're literally talking about the space and the time. So you're saying, श्री श्वेत वराह कल्पे व्यवस्थित मनवंतरे 28वां कलयुगे प्रथम चरणे 2082 विक्रम संवत चतुर्थी तिथो 4 श्रवण धनिष्ठा नक्षत्रे, राइट, जम्बू द्वीपे भारत खंडे भारतवर्षे उत्तराखंड हिमाचल प्रदेशे मंडी क्षेत्रे IIT क्षेत्रे, all that you're saying specific space time, you literally naming it today. Science is talking about space time, but it doesn't talk about time. There is no,
I was about to ask you this question, sir. So you already mentioned it. You mentioned Vedanga Jyotisha and the importance of Kalā, the time aspect and the space also.
Right. It is.
The relation with modern science.
Right. So if you now start questioning that, Vedas are only talking about time. We are worshipping Kalā. Mahakaleshwar is, this is Bharat. Mahakaleshwar is in Ujjain. That's where the central time meridian goes from there, used to go from there. Right? Sri Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Kalo Asmi, I am Kalā. Oppenheimer wrongly says that, I am death. No. And, I've never seen a more audacious display of ignorance that in Hollywood, you're making a movie, at least please verify with the sources. This is not the right translation. So this was totally bizarre. So time is explained there. Okay.
So, sir, talking about science, the aspect of science, let me quote few, the advent of quantum mechanics, quantum physics.
Yeah.
So the inventor of, discoverer of quantum physics are Heisenberg, Schrödinger,
right,
Niels Bohr. So let me quote few of their, you mentioned it in your book. So one of the discoverer of quantum mechanics, Warren Heisenberg. So he remarked, after the conversations about Indian philosophy, some of the ideas of quantum physics that had seemed too crazy suddenly made much more sense. And exactly that, let me say, sir, I am also a student of physics. So quantum mechanics also,
Right.
one of the greatest mind of quantum mechanics, Feynman, he told me that whoever told you that I know completely about, I can explain everything about quantum mechanics, he is lying.
He's like, exactly.
He didn't understand a thing about God.
Exactly.
And also Schrödinger summarized,
Right.
this life of yours, which you are living is not merely a piece of this entire existence, but in a certain sense, the whole, only this whole, is not so constituted that is can be surveyed in one single glance. And he's like, quoting from that uh, Sabd, Brahmanas from
Right.
what is called?
Saptashata Brahmana.
नहीं नहीं
Satapata Brahmana. Satapata Brahmana.
Brahmana. Tatsvamasi is called Mahavakya. Yes, one of the
Mahavakya.
Mahavakyas. He is actually explaining one of the Mahavakyas.
Yeah.
Tatsvamasi. This
Tattvamasi.
kind of quotes coming out from like greatest minds like Heisenberg, Schrodinger,
Right.
and how many of us know about these things?
Nobody, because this is what is pressed, right? So you need some critical thinking, okay? So Dharma, all the Vedic books are entirely studies about time. Bible doesn't talk about time. Quran does not talk about time. Science doesn't have any definition of time. So my thing, the thing that I really stalled on, and this is the, after a lot of tapasya, you'll find that science starts with inventions like theory of gravitation. Okay, so Galileo gives you the rate of gravitation, which is 9.8 meters per second square. The question is, this is great, fantastic. Where does the second definition come from? The definition of the second. So it's easy to say, well, 60 seconds is 1 minute, 60 minutes is 1 hour, 24 hours 1 day. Where do the 24 hours come from? Where is the definition? A Google search will tell you it's Babylonians, Egyptians. ChatGPT will tell you something. Yeah, these guys use this. I'm not asking how they used it. I'm asking you, how did they get to it? There is no definition. Then you dig deeper and you get to Surya Siddhanta and the Vedas, which are fundamentally talking about why 24 hours. The 24 hours concept is given in Rig Veda, where Rishi Dirghatamas. I'm quoting very specific one or two because, otherwise it'll become a Vedic book. So I've given very specific, like Ramayana. I can pick up Mahabharata, I can pick up many Puranas, but I've picked up Ramayana because it's most popular, right? So Rishi Dirghatamas is talking about, he's counting 720 ahoratras. So when you reduce this to 30 tithis, which is the angular distance between the sun and the moon, again, complex concepts, but very deeply explained in the book. So 720, essentially you boil it down to every Rashi, which is there, the Surya Rashi, at the Lagna, at the point of the horizon, will change or stay for 2 ahoratras. Okay? That is, the word hora is derived from ahoratra. So the 2 horas will be for 1 Rashi. So 12 Rashis is 24 horas. But it's a division of time. It is not the actual measurement of time. Simply put, if you are in a theater, which let's say looks like this is the front row, this is the rear row, and every row has 50 seats, you can count the number of seats and get to the 10th seat. But if you say, well, I'm going to measure my, seat number by the centimeters. So you start measuring by 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters. After like 500 centimeters, you'll get to the 4th seat. But in the 50th row, you'll only get to the 2nd seat. You're able to understand this. If the auditorium was like this, same number of seats here, same number of seats here, but the width of the seat will be different. That is the reason they can't understand what we are talking about. So the horas was picked because it's a simpler concept. The idea of a sundial put on the earth like this, if the sun rises in the east, the shadow falls in the west. Sun comes in the middle, the shadow falls in the middle. Sun sets in the west, the shadow falls in, the sun sets in the west, the shadow falls in the east. Now, when you start to understand this is how the clockwise pattern comes. Had the clock been invented in the Western hemisphere, the clocks would have gone anti-clockwise.